The Third Man is a stunning film, full of tilted paranoia and looming shadows. It's a film that is constantly on the run and has some of the best use of lighting I have ever seen. And I just watched it on the big screen for the first time. I recently did a classic review of Barry Lyndon, a film that floored me in almost every aspect and left me itching to go and visit some of the other cinematic greats I've yet to experience. Films like these really do flood the brain with such inspiration and wonder, and at this caliber and magnitude, they are hard to shake for all the right reasons. And The Third Man is particularly appealing to me personally because it submerged me in some of my favorite genre traits. And just like with my Barry Lyndon video, this is not a proper review or an analysis in a typical sense. It's more an appreciation and a sporadic expression of my love for it. It's so easy to be passionate about cinema when films like this exist, and I want to talk about my feelings experiencing this for the first time. So enough rambling. We are going all the way back to 1949 for this one, towards the end of the golden age of cinema. Directed by Carol Reed and written by Graham Greene, The Third Man tells the story of Holly Martins, a hack writer who arrives in a post-war Vienna to visit his friend Harry Lime. But when he arrives, he finds out Harry has been killed by a car whilst crossing the street. At first, assumed an accident, suddenly more and more mysterious circumstances around his death begin to surface, most notably the fact that there was a third man at the scene of the crime that now seems to be a murder. It is a story about moving shadows that lurk amongst the ruins of a city that's become fractured and divided. Its plot revealed slowly to us through many meetings, whispers, stares, and the occasional wink. It's a talky screenplay littered with clues and, most importantly, a moral ambiguity. It feels like there is an edge to most sentiments in this film. Nothing is as it seems, and there is always a shadow hiding something. And I love having a writer as a protagonist. Sunset Boulevard and Barton Fink are some of my favorite films, and Holly Martin's character in this is a writer of westerns, it seems, but he bumbles around a bit, sure of his goal, but not how he is meant to achieve it. It feels like he merely stumbles upon clues at first before he really understands what's going on. It's interesting because unlike, say, a Raymond Chandler novel, we are privy to things that Martin is not, and part of the fun of this film is watching him figure it all out, as we often feel one step ahead of him. But let's get to the cinematography and look, because this is what I find most compelling about this film. Look at this shot, or this shot, or this shot. This film seems to be highly regarded as one of the best looking films set in a city. The use of manholes, tunnels, dark passageways, and rubble really do wonders for this film's atmosphere. There is always an escape route or a secret passage lurking in every shadow, or maybe even someone listening. And the light cuts through the frame in such a striking manner, it's as if it's uncovering the Holy Grail. A lot of this style is rooted in German Expressionism, films like Nosferatu or Metropolis. It gives the viewer something to focus on that dominates the focal point, but most importantly, leaves something behind afterwards, like a shadow. It's a bold style that I adore, and this film embraces it. You feel the mystery in every frame. The shadows that are cast in this film feel like weaknesses. They are vulnerable, exposed lies almost. It sounds obvious, but the light in this film really feels like it's uncovering a truth, which is why some characters stay firmly in the dark. I was constantly in awe of the composition of certain scenes here. Shapes have never felt more captivating. The framing here is offering you all kinds of perspectives of this city. All angles feel present in a frame, and the frame itself is crooked. With heavy use of Dutch angles, the implications here feel obvious, but it adds so much to a scene. I even found myself tilting my head in real life whilst I was watching this because of how often this method is used. And I have to mention some of the dissolve transitions used in this film that leave shifting eyeballs fading out into the next scene. The paranoia and mystery is so well cranked through so many visual choices here, which are on full display in the film's climax chase sequences through the sewers. A sequence that feels so tense, like everything is closing in. Shadows start betraying everyone here, and the darkness takes over. Suddenly, light becomes the only release. The shadows are no longer safe. And then we have Orson Welles, who has a mere 10 minutes of screen time, but when he finally appears, he doesn't just steal the show, he makes it his own. His introduction is staged with such a dramatic flip of a light switch that it left me with the same sensation as when Andrew Garfield stepped out of that portal in Spider-Man No Way Home. It's one of the greatest character intros in a film I've ever seen, and it feels so boldly deliberate and self-aware. You want to immediately applaud as if he's just stepped out onto a Broadway stage. And then the famous scene on the Ferris wheel with the speech from Wells' character where he references the many people below as insignificant dots, which ends with the lines,
"In Italy, for 30 years under the Borgias, they had warfare, terror, murder, and bloodshed, but they produced Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, and the Renaissance. In Switzerland, they had brotherly love. They had 500 years of democracy and peace, and what did that produce? The cuckoo clock. So long, Holly."
Lines which Wells reportedly added to the script himself. And you can feel Orson Welles' influence throughout this film. It never fails to amaze me how much you feel his presence when he is on screen. This film is an amazing work in its own right, but Orson Welles certainly elevates it to the status of masterpiece. Finally, I want to talk about the music. That springy zither score that certainly raised an eyebrow for me when the film started, but I grew to love as it went on. I think the music adds so much to the back and forth nature of this film. Holly Martins feels like he's on a yo-yo at times, and this jaunty, jangly melody that accompanies his footsteps feels so appropriate to the time and place as well as the mystery at play. To the point now that I'm out of the cinema, I can't quite imagine the visuals without this score. Like the film's cinematography, the score feels so appropriately expressionistic. This film is fascinating to me as it starts on a mysterious, almost one-note murder and then goes further and further down the rabbit hole, ending in the moral sludge of the sewers with little hope for redemption for its characters. It becomes surprisingly emotional towards the end and offers a final shot that couldn't be more perfect. To say I was enthralled would be an understatement. This is a true work of art and one that I adore and will be certainly revisiting soon, and I can't recommend it enough if you haven't seen it. And something that occurred to me whilst I was watching this is that we are entering the 100-year anniversary of the golden age of cinema, which means over the next 20 to 30 years, all of the films that shaped what cinema is today will hopefully be getting restorations and re-releases. It's actually quite an exciting prospect to be able to celebrate it all over again. Anyway, that's all I have to say on this one. I love doing these classic reviews, and if you did like this, please consider subscribing. Let me know what you thought of the film in the comments below, and now all that's left to do is to thank you very much for watching.